Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man!
All right! Episode 214 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Jeremy from Peace and Cotton in Canada. Let's go!
What's cooking, dude? Looking.
Hey, boo.
Hey.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Howdy. I hope your day's been wonderful.
I think it has, yeah. I mean, it hasn't sucked, so it's okay.
Happy birthday to...
That's not today.
Okay. Well, yesterday.
That's right. I didn't get that yesterday.
I still want you to be recognized. I fucking called
you. You called me. There was no happy birthday song like that.
Well, I don't want to sing to you. Just me and you. It's too intimate. I would rather do it for the masses.
You just started.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful, though. You have the voice of an angel.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. I think we had talked to each other last night, and I had just I've had this fucking ham, like pre-sliced whatever ham in a package thing I got from Sam's Club a while ago. And I've had it in my fridge for over a week, like a week and a half or something. I checked the expiration and it still has like another week or something before user freeze by or whatever. So I've been meaning to for like the last week. Like I was like, oh, I'll put it in a crock pot and I'll put like potatoes and carrots and all this other stuff. I've never done one like that. I was like, it's got to be fine, right? Found a recipe online and it was like cook garlic and onion and brown it and put it in the crock pot and put this and chicken stock and all this other stuff. So I did all those things. I went home on my lunch break. I fried it all up, put it all in the crock pot, put it on, got home like 7 o'clock. I was like, hell yeah. Ham dinner in a crock pot, got it out. And it was gross as fuck. It was it tasted like nothing. It tasted like boiled dinner, like hot. It was like hot ham and hot. Yeah, but flavorless.
Mm.
And all ham that was like above the liquid was just like straight, like hard beef jerky.
Oh.
And it was just not great. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I'll eat it. Like I ate like a plate of it or like half of a plate of it. And I was like, I don't know, this is just not doing it for me. So I was like, fuck it, set it aside. Anyway, I talked to you on the phone and I was like, yeah, I just had this gross ham dinner thing. And then I woke up in the middle of the night with like horrible stomach cramps.
Oh no.
So
vomit? Diarrhea?
No, I didn't vomit. I just sat there and was like, I just rolled around for a little bit and then I went back to sleep.
Yeah, this story is awful. Yeah,
I'm trying to tell you it was terrible. I'm not trying to say this is great.
Yeah, I'm not one to play with expiration dates. Like if it's getting close, then I don't want it. Like it's just not worth the pain.
Usually me too, agony. But this had plenty of time still. And I was like, all right, well, this is probably fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was just probably my cooking methods or something. I was just trying something different. You got to experiment once in a while, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yeah. When in doubt, Trader Joe's has a 21 seasoning salute. There's like 21 freaking spices in there. You just dump that in there, and it's like everything basically. Mm-hmm. You could try that. You need to get that. I'll send you.
I'm just gonna stick to the roasts and the stews and the, chicken and rice. Can't go wrong with that shit.
Yeah, last night for my birthday we had quesadillas. So
homemade.
Yep, it's easy. Our way anyway. It's like
can't really mess that up.
No, can't really mess it up. And so, but it's delicious and it's right there. It's easy and. I wanted to stay home. It was rainy, and that's basically, I was fine with that. When your birthday comes along and you're like, when I was a kid anyway, and when it's the summer, we're like, you just
wanted to be that sad guy who looks at like out the pane of your window with like one hand on the glass and like rainy coming down outside.
Birthday? Yeah.
You're just looking outside, wishing you could be riding your bikes with your friends.
Having the feels.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
But it was okay. It was fine because it was only like 70 degrees and we were like just cozy the whole day.
We have tornado warnings here right now. So if the power goes out.
Warning or watch?
I don't know. I got that whole like everyone's phone was like bah, bah. So
probably a warning. Yeah, you want to get in. Do you have a basement there?
Nah, I'll be fine. Let the fucker take me. That's where I'm at in my life right now. Let it take me. Just like I want to be, you know,
Mhm.
I want to be taken by the
Well, it
twister.
sounds like you're content with life then, because you know you're like, look, my life has been great and I'm okay. Like
Mhm.
if it's over, it's over. Okay, I
That's
like
what
that.
it is for sure.
That's
I
very
want to go with
calming.
that. hmm
Very calming, Dylan.
hmm How's things otherwise?
Oh, shop's good. Yeah, we're spinning all three presses. So,
Yeah.
you know, normally July, that's not the case. Like we get back from
Yeah.
the break, you know, and it's slow and so July for us is our second slowest month of the year.
Yeah.
Getting back though on Monday, we got really sick, is that what you would say? Like a dope order. And um, and then also we got two actually. So we've got stuff to do. It's really good.
Nice.
Yeah, it feels nice.
We have I think I've told you this. Well, yeah, I definitely have told you this, but we're doing a bunch of outreach and stuff. And one of the programs of outreach that we're doing is just reaching out to like our whole client list of like, you know, people we've already had and see what's up, all these other things. And we're finding out that most of the responses we're getting, if they're not ready to place an order, is just like, hey, like things are slow for us right now. Like we don't have the budget for that kind of thing. So I was wondering if you see that at all with any of your customers, that they're just like being conservative and
Hmm.
not ordering as much as they usually do. Like even our big customers who like order consistently are kind of conservative. Like they're kind of being like, you know, last year they might have ordered like 3,000 of this, and now they're like, oh, we're doing like half that because
Hmm.
we're trying to play it safe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing any of that yet, but I wouldn't
Mm,
be surprised if it's coming, you know, because isn't AI taking over most things? So
yeah. Mhm.
that's we're doomed. But I think no, everything I think this is very normal July. In fact, we might be up. I think we'll end up with a bigger July than last year. June was slightly down, but not by double digits or anything. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like it's okay. I'm not
Yeah,
complaining
everything's
over here.
good. Yeah, I'm not complaining either. I think things are good. It's just when you're trying to do things specifically
Yeah.
and you're getting feedback, you're kind of like, oh, all right, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, things are good. I kind of have been trying to figure out a label debacle all morning with, we got customers who want custom labels on their poly bags and everything, and the printer I normally use to make them isn't working. So I found a solution using our fucking Zebra label printer,
Okay.
like doing UPS labels and then doing their black label on two per label, and it's just like this whole thing.
Mm.
But that's been my entire morning.
Do you have, so when you have a customer, let's say that split ships, do you charge per location or do you not care? So like if they say, hey, I have 10 boxes, 10 cases of shirts, I want printed and I want all 10 to go to different places. So one case to each location.
Yeah,
Do
we
you
do charge for
charge
that. We do charge for that, and I can't remember
like $10 or something additional?
what we do. Yeah, we charge something because we have certain fees for things like that. Like we have fees for orders, just like, I don't know, say it's Carhartt and everything's in a bag or something. It's
Mm,
like there's a fee to unbag everything, and
yeah,
there's a fee to do split shipments and everything because it's so much more labor intensive. Like
right.
shipping and receiving has to like count in double basically, and
Mhm.
we use twice as many boxes and everything else. So yeah, it's a pain for sure.
Yeah,
We've had
somebody asked
huge
me that.
orders like, yeah, we've had huge orders for, you know, comedians and bands and stuff that it's like, hey, I need 10,000 of this, but like it's spread over 10 venues. And it's like, we'll print it and then we'll be like, all right, this one's the one that goes to New Jersey. This one's that goes to Philly. This is the one that goes to Boston, whatever. And it's like, it's so much work to divide everything and then keep it all separated. And then, okay, this one has to ship on Monday. This one has to ship on Wednesday. This one has to ship on
Mhm.
Friday. And it's like, yeah, you charge for that shit. Like fucking, it's so much more
Yeah,
work than just counting in
right.
cases.
Yeah, somebody asked me that yesterday, and my answer was that you get one location, and we'll make labels for you. So you enter it, and if it's 40 boxes or whatever, you print out those, you know, one location. But if you have to
Right.
enter in 40 locations and make sure it's all divided up just right, the quantities
Right.
and everything. Yeah, of course.
I mean-
so we charge.
Yeah, for sure.
hmm and I'm okay with it because we charge enough to make money off it. Even like there's an order that he is placed every single year here that splits 81 places, and it's all when it comes through, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, here this one is again,"
Mhm.
And so, but we charge 81 times. You know what I mean? To make
Right,
sure
yeah.
that we get covered for it because it's like you said, it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We've had that discussion before where it's like after X thousands of shirts, the price should actually go up
Yeah, right.
because of the logistics of like moving that many cases around. and everything.
Moving, the liability, the storage, everything about it.
Mhm.
Like a lot of times when we get large orders like that and we have to mix ink to it or I have to buy ink for it specifically,
Buy it in gallons and
you're like,
fives and
oh
everything.
God, and then you're trying to guess, like you look at the image and you're like, I think we're going to use about 12 gallons of ink, but you don't know.
Wasn't there a 5 gallon that Kyle mixed like last year or something, and it was like a weird color, and like the whole thing went bad because it wasn't the right color or something?
Yeah, Kyle didn't mix that. Someone else did. This was a horrible story and it was a horrible day in Shirkong's history because we lost like $400 just because it was a 5 gallon of ink, like you said. And what happened? So like, I think that somebody moved a formula. Somebody put out a formula and then they had to go do something. And then they came back and a different formula was there. And then they did something wrong. I don't even know what happened, but I tried to block it out of my memory,
Mhm.
but you brought it up.
You're welcome.
But yeah, we mixed 5 gallons of wrong ink and it sat there for I was like, well, one day maybe we'll need this ink again,
Did you try to put that? I think at the time we were talking to Aaron at Monarch.
Yeah.
Did you put
Yeah.
that black pigment stuff in it to turn it
didn't.
black?
It was a light color. We would have had to buy, we would have had to use like, I don't know,
It's
at least
not
a few
worth it.
gallons of it. Yeah, it just
I've
wasn't
never
worth it.
like when he told us about that, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I think I tried it in like 1 quart of something, and I was like, I don't think I did. I would just throw it away. Like just start over. Like it's a loss. Like
It works for what you're talking about. What Dylan's talking about is there's a black pigment ink that if you have, let's say you have a gallon or a quart or something of
you
ink,
mix the wrong color or whatever, you can
or even it's
turn
just
it
left
black.
over and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, we're never going to use this color again. Then you can turn it black and just put it in like with your black, right? And it works well, but the color really needs to be at least a medium to dark. If it's anything light, like a lemon yellow or something like that, then it's really not that great. That's what we found.
Yeah.
So
The worst part about that though too is it's not only did you ruin the 5 of ink, it's cleaning the 5 of ink spatula that goes in that like stirs the whole thing.
oh yeah.
So you have to throw that away and then cart all the ink off of that and then wipe that and clean that, and then it's just like such a kick in the balls.
I wonder how many gallons of paint, like at Home Depot or Lowe's, when customers or when people come in, they're like, hey, well, I want 5 gallons of paint mixed to this whatever color. And then they mix it and they're like, nah, that doesn't look right or whatever. How many gallons do they go through of waste or whatever?
Or
what
do
I'm saying? Or they're like, what do you mean?
Well, they also have that rack there that's next to the paint section that's all like that. It's like mismatched ink colors. It's like 25% off or something, and then people just go over there and buy that, and they're like, I'll paint my kid's room this color. Fuck
Yeah, because it's discounted.
yeah.
So we could do that. We could say, hey, you want this shitty
We'll just
color?
put it on the curb and see if someone wants it.
Right. Talked to Frank yesterday.
Yeah, how's he doing?
He's doing great. Everybody, the people who called me for my birthday, I appreciate that. The people who texted me for my birthday, I appreciate that. The people that went on Facebook and Facebooked, wished me birthday, I appreciate that.
Book faced me.
Yeah, like Facebook's going to come back one day. We're all going to use it again, right? Because I haven't posted on Facebook since like 2014 or something. I don't know. It all starts with the screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF,
Rank.com.
or
Greatfuckingscreens.com.
so I was I was listening to this podcast, and they were talking about Facebook, or actually Instagram, and how when it went for sale, Twitter apparently offered like $500,000. Said, hey, we want to buy you for $550 million. And the owner of Instagram was like, okay. And he thought about it, and he's like, let me give me a week or whatever. And so he was contemplating. He's like, yeah, I'm probably going to sell it. But then Zuckerberg called him and said, hey, let's get some lunch. I want to talk to you about buying your company. And so they met, and apparently it was like on a Friday, and it was Good Friday. And he was like, no, let's get this deal done now, like today. Come back to my house and let's like figure it out, just you and me. And so I guess he went back to Mark Zuckerberg's house.
He went to Zuckerberg's house, and then they fucking body snatched him, and then he came out a different person because Zuckerberg's a fucking alien.
But after all that happened, then they said, okay, here, we're going to figure this out today. And I guess he spent the night.
Yeah, definitely.
True story. And they figured it out the next day with attorneys and lawyers and everything else, $1 billion. And Instagram at the time was losing money. Like, it hadn't made money yet. But he was like, I know that I want this. And nobody had ever paid anything like that for an app before. But he knew, I think that Mark knew that Instagram was going to like eat Facebook soon. Like, it was over. If he didn't own part of it, it was over for Facebook. And so he bought it.
Yeah, short form videos and photos, and people don't want to read. They don't want to hear their grandma talk about something on Facebook anymore.
I guess they don't. Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
Is the easiest way, baby?
Yeah, baby. GraphX is the source for production-ready digital art and remote art staffing. We use them every single day. They can help any size shop from just starting out to enterprise level. They got you. Learn more at graphxsource.
Love. It's calm, but they should be love. Actually had a discussion with my art team yesterday about using Graphic Source more. So,
oh, cool.
I think it's a great option.
Choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromaline. Go to chromaline.com to watch Kev's vids, or contact him on Instagram at the Emulsion Guru and get the answers you need. He actually did text me happy birthday, and on Facebook told me happy birthday twice. Kevin.
Kevin's a great man.
He is. Yeah.
One of the most important parts of your shop. You should really be friends with Kev. He's going to
only for that reason too. Like, just
don't be friends with him just to be friends with him. Only use him for his knowledge and then kick him to the curb.
Precisely.
Yeah.
SNS has been our go-to apparel source since day one, with over 85 brands to choose from, including.
Dude, my brain's fried right now. Don't ask me this question.
Including Gildan.
Definitely Gildan.
Is that all?
That's all I use all day long, baby.
They do. They have the 5,000. They have the 8,000. They have the 2,000.
5,000, 2,000, 8,000, the 64,000, the H000, the obviously now all the American Apparel stuff, the 2001, all the CVCs of everything, all the polys of everything.
And if you want youth, just put a B on the end of that stuff.
There you go. Today's episode is sponsored by the OG of the shirt game, American Apparel, the original go-to tee of the industry. The 2001 has been copied and ripped off so many times I can't keep track anymore. AA is back. Make American Apparel your go-to for premium blanks.
Screen Print GPT. You definitely need to sign up for this free software that Matthew Michael Marcotte has made, because it is fabulous.
It is. What do we got today, bud?
Dylan, today we are talking to Jeremy Panda from Peace and Cotton in Toronto, Canada.
Toronto?
Yes, sir.
What's up, dude? How are you?
Hey guys, how are you?
How's it going up there in Canada?
Pretty good, pretty busy. But you know what that's like. I was listening to a bunch of your shows this week, and I actually I was on the road a lot, and I heard a lot of the audio. I didn't really watch the visual. And so I was actually trying to picture you. And so this is actually like the first time I've just been listening to the show.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's interesting.
We were just talking about this before you got on about how Andy's voice makes people sick. Was that true for you?
Oh.
Or
I wouldn't say that, but I think you cast a voice that is a bit. I thought you were older.
Okay.
Yeah. So
It's just the wise. I think it's the wiseness that you're hearing. That's all.
Wise assness.
Yeah, Andy's voice gives me vocal induced bowel tremors. So it's just I wanted to make sure that wasn't the case for you, and our listeners.
So are you guys in Missouri? This is where you are, right?
Andy's in Missouri. I'm in New York.
Oh, yeah. Wicked. Oh, right. Yeah, of course. Upstate. Yes.
Yeah. Christina said that you were in Toronto, right?
Yeah. So I built the company in Toronto, 20 years, went to school, musician, and didn't really want to go to school, and played a lot of pool and played in a bunch of bands and sort of found screen printing. And so built the whole company in Toronto. And then at a certain age, I just kind of decided that I was just done with all of that lifestyle of bands, managing and doing all this music stuff. And
So much stress.
I met my wife, and she had a son who's my stepson now, and 16 and he was 4 at the time. And I was just ready to just sort of say, I'm done. And so, so we moved out to Niagara Falls, Canada, 6 years ago. And we have 3 kids and live out here on the water. And it's actually really great for me because I hop across the border in the commercial lane and do a lot of imports myself, and gets me on the road with my dog. And but yeah, so I'm in Niagara currently. This is my little man cave, gym, sort of music stuff, desk, and where I like to be. And then I have a factory in Toronto and a factory in Hamilton, which is halfway between Niagara and Toronto.
So Jeremy, here is the question we all want to know now. Do you get in a barrel and then float off the falls like on the weekends? Is that the kind of thing you do?
You know what? Everyone thinks of the falls. We did too. When we moved here, we were like, fuck, we're going to be going to the falls a lot. And, my wife and I are not really we're more into like the idea of Disney World in a mid-autumn rain. I think that would be kind of what we want, so moved to this sort of beach town. And, but no, there's a lot of wineries. So actually when our kids were
tons of wineries,
were tiny, we actually were biking out into the vineyards with these 2 kids strapped to us. Basically, we were like, holy shit, this is amazing. So the vineyards and sort of that kind of thing is really awesome. I have not done the barrel yet.
You would die.
Sounds like
there's no surviving that.
Someone has to bring it back.
Yeah. Get down there and do the Maid of the Mist and get wet once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't brought the kids yet, which is crazy, but we have zip lined. They added a zip line on our side.
Did they really?
Yeah, I have not done it, but my 16-year-old has done it.
They're supposedly, well, I've only ever visited the US side, but they say the views are better from the Canada side and the ice cream is better on the Canada side.
Yeah, I don't know about the ice cream, but definitely it's a significant difference between the two. But we're Canadians, so we see in our periphery your falls and we see our falls together. And I think we just say, wow, look at this. This is pretty awesome. I don't think we're actually focusing on the size, girth of our falls. However, it is, significantly bigger.
Right.
But I honestly don't look at it like competitively, but I do think that's how we often sort of think that our neighbors are looking at it, because it's usually brought more attention. But I don't know, maybe I'm just not that kind of dude.
I love it. I think it's one of those things that everyone should see for sure if they get a chance to, especially now. Well, I like just like the nature part of it, but now they have that whole like light show and stuff there too, where it's like at night they have the lights that go against the falls and everything else. But
Yeah, and they use it with a lot of different things. You know, like there was a girl that actually went missing pretty close to where my office is out here, and we all became very obsessed with it because it's a small town. And you know what, they ended up she did turn up. She had passed away, and she was like associated with the color green in our area, and they actually like ran the falls green for a while for her, and it was just kind of cool. So there's this sort of like there's sort of kind of really nice feeling to that too. And there's some kind of thoughtfulness behind the tourist kind of area.
So you said you have multiple locations now. You have there in Toronto.
I was listening to one of your guys' casts. I can't remember which one it was, but you were talking. This was back. I started early in the sort of series, and you were sort of talking about. I don't know if things have changed now, but at the time where you kind of wanted to focus in on sort of work that, made sense for the shop and jobs that you could kind of bang out. It's really like kind of gone into my head this week. And so the staff meetings I've had with my guys and everybody, I've sort of mentioned it, and everyone kind of rolls their eyes at me because I think that the Peace and Cotton is like, literally like the antithesis of that, but nobody in the company likely really wants that other than me. But yeah, so we have basically only because my wife got a professorship out here, we had to move out here. And I wanted our kids to be brought up in a smaller area too. That I kind of just adapted to everything. And so, yeah, we have like a pretty big footprint in Toronto, but it's like a community too. We sublet, we have a 10,000 square foot space. We have like a little community there. We do a lot of cool stuff. It used to be a nightclub. We were 500 Keel was like the second biggest club in Toronto at one point. It was basically like a rave place. I never went, actually. My wife and I were starting to warm up to the idea, and then we got shut down. But we got shut down in the nicest possible way. We had 250,000 people through in like a year and a half. And it was provincial fires, like state fire, basically, who like politely came into my office and said, we're done. Right. Toronto fire knew me, all the cops, everybody. And we did everything. I ran through all that stuff the right way, but we were able to have this kind of big spot while we were growing. So anyway, we have that space still where we do like direct to garment. We do a lot of digital stuff, fulfillment. We have a little screen printing, like a manual there. But our auto that we just bought in the last couple of years is in Hamilton. That's kind of, so the Hamilton shop's more like, it's our favorite place. It's a cozy little 2,000 square foot space with screen printing. We have a couple manuals and an auto, and we do a bunch of fulfillment there, a bunch of transfers, obviously. And then my little man cave here where I live, which is really where everything I get the most done out of this space. Yeah. So why keep multiple locations? Like, why have the Hamilton one, the Toronto one, just because of the footprint you have in that place? Or for now, it's kind of everything's moving, right? My wife has sort of said that it's kind of like the Titanic, which is not a great thing, but basically our space in Toronto, our lease is actually coming to a close at the end of this year. And they have, even though we have a clause saying that we have market rate for extension, they're actually doubling the rent to $250,000 a year. And I'm trying to make it work for my tenants and for us and blah, blah, blah. Cause Toronto's where like 90% of our business really like happens. But it's likely not going to happen. And so likely in November, there will be some changes that move us more into like the Hamilton space. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I like Hamilton is because it's halfway between Toronto and here. Niagara, as nice as it is to raise kids, is really fucking boring for certain things. Whenever like a new restaurant comes in, we're like, fuck, like, that's awesome. Like me and my wife went to Buffalo for my birthday in December last year. And it was like, we were like, oh my God, there's a bourbon bar. This is incredible. Like this is like a city. There's cool shit here. And Hamilton has that vibe. It's kind of really sketchy and it's kind of fucked up, but in a good kind of city way. Whereas Niagara is just weird. It's just a weird border town, kind of fucking like university kids, which is fine. And then the winery tourist stuff, I'm
very similar with that because it's pretty much the same as where I am. Like I am just like 3.5 hours south. So
right.
I still get the wineries, the lakes, the touristy people for like camping and all that other kind of thing. But like you said, there's like not a lot going on throughout the year. Like I live in a village. So like we're like 990 population. So
oh, that's incredible. That's so cool,
I understand a new restaurant came in. Holy shit kind of thing.
Yeah, we actually, funny quick story out of New York. So a couple weeks ago, on Canada Day, we decided to be true patriots and go camping in the U.S. This is our family of five. We just decided, you know what, let's get the fuck out of Canada. It's going to be crazy. But we wanted to go camping. All the sites were booked. So we went to Allegheny, I'm going to say it wrong. Is that right? Allegheny?
Sure. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, you could laugh about it after. And so we were there, and we got in to that site, and I'll tell a quick story. So I just recently got diagnosed with really severe apnea in the last like year and a half. Like actually I'm changing as a person. And because I had found out that I was stopping breathing 53 times an hour. And so I really am this kind of like just finding my life again after 20 years of no sleep. And so anyway, we pull in. My wife, whenever we go camping, it's like really bad for me. But my wife's like, you know what? I'm going to get you power this time. So anyway, we pull in, we pay, we get in, we get our site map. And as we're kind of pulling through, my wife, who's a neuroscientist, but not someone who understands amperage so much, basically leans over to me and says, 50 amp, right? And I'm like, 50 amp? What do you mean? So we're driving.
That's a red chili flash, not your CPAP machine.
Yeah. So we're driving through to the map to this area. And of course, we're in this beautiful wooded forest. It's like the biggest state national park in New York. It's massive. We saw, 40 groundhogs literally driving up through the park to this beauteous kind of landscape. And then we pull into an RV field. And the RV field is obviously, I immediately am like 50 amps, like it's a CPAP. It's like, It's a fucking plug. Like it's a, electronic, toothbrush charger. And so we pull in, and my wife, who's wonderful, literally such an optimist, such a nice person. I'm the dick. She basically says, we can sleep in the field. It's fine. And I'm like, no, we're not sleeping in a field. We drove all this way. There's not even a tree. We're literally pulling in between these two RVs. They got their fire out. They're smoking their cigarettes. And I'm like, no. So we turn around. We go back. Anyway, we get the site with no power, which is fine. At 4 a.m, I tried to drink myself into kind of a pass out all night thing. I wake up at 4 a.m. in a complete sober, realization. This is horrible. Yeah. It starts to rain, and it was the 3 inches of rain that hit. It starts to come through the tent at 5:30 in the morning. I don't wake up my family because I want them to sleep. And so anyway, my wife's at 6:30. She's like, why didn't you wake me up? And I'm just like, it's all good. Anyway, long story short, we went into Jamestown that night, stayed in a hotel, and checked out the roller derby. And it was incredible. It was like, that was my kind of night. So that was kind of why I brought it up. But we ended up in this kind of like just seeing a little bit of it, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to get too far into this because we could talk about this forever and it's going to be boring to everybody else. But I 100% understand your CPAP thing. I'm in the same boat. They do make a really good battery for that, by the way, which I could send you a link to.
It's good. Okay, good.
Yeah. So you like if you do camp or you go somewhere, I personally have it because our power goes out all the time. So if the power goes out in the middle of the night, I can just plug into that. And like, I have like something like 18 hours of battery life or something where I can run my machine like normal.
See, so. I was looking at these two places and they said 2 hours, but it could be a kid, but I can bring it in from the US. Anyway, we'll talk. I love that.
We'll talk about our life-changing sleep and anxiety issues when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So anyway, one of the things that we really wanted to talk to you about was the whole like live print activation kind of thing. So how did you get into that, and like how is that going for you?
Yeah, cool. We got hired by, it was like a national tour. Well, national in Canada is pretty small. But we got asked to do like a Top Shop opening where we did like 7 Top Shops. And this was probably, gosh, I'd like to say 10 to 12 years ago, we hadn't even heard of this thing. You know, it was just in Canada. You know, I always say with trends, we just have to look to New York or the States and see what's coming. And then 6 months later, you know, we can basically just pretend that we made it up or whatever, or just anticipate it. But basically, yeah, we did this Top Shop tour and we kind of learned how to do it. And what was kind of cool with that is we didn't really have much set up with manufacturing and all that, but we were able to like see the benefits of being able to be a service shop and also do the live printing. Because obviously we were going to work through it all. Technically, we were going to make sure it was good. We weren't just being like an agency or middleman selling in. And then we also were able to do all the different components of the job. So we were like doing packaging. So we would like I remember us driving to Montreal one night. It was me and my buddy Ryan. And this was years ago. Okay. But you know, we get in, we start drinking heavily. We wake up in the morning and we do all the fulfillment for that Saturday event or Sunday event, whatever it was. Anyway, we planned it all good. And we just went on this tour where it was just like these 3 days of fulfillment and helping and doing some stuff. And they had some problems like with printing coasters, like 25,000 coasters they needed done in like 3 days at one point. So of course I just helped them, didn't charge them. Just, we found a local print shop and, you know, anyway,
you got your foot in the door.
That was our first gig. And then if you sort of fast track through the years, I definitely saw it start to grow in the States and some of the guys in the States that do it. I won't name them right now, but we have been hired by a few US companies. We have actually done some really crazy events in the US too that were really fun in Boston. And we did a cross US tour with Adidas. I wish we did more because we actually get paid a lot more when we go out there. It's a completely different beast here. But anyway, like it was like 20% of our company right before COVID. And
then it died. Then it was nothing for like 2 years.
In 2019, I had racked up a term loan debt from this big job that I had taken with this $300 million cosmetics company. It was like a 80,000 piece PO that they couldn't help finance at the beginning. And so I took this horrible loan and it was sort of like just chasing me down over the years. But then finally in 2019, right before COVID, I went to the bank, which I didn't think a t-shirt company could go to the bank. And I went to the bank and I showed them my situation. They were like, oh my God, why are you paying all this interest? And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. And they were like, no, your company looks amazing. We'll finance you. Anyway, so they financed me and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I have a legitimate business and I could get out of all that stuff. And then that was like literally like 2 weeks before COVID hit. And so it was good news because honestly, if I hadn't have found that, COVID might have completely destroyed me. But basically, you fast forward through 3 years of kind of just like, what the hell, were you going to do? We figured out some fulfillment stuff. We learned how to do a lot of that stuff and we worked it out. But anyway, to come to the end of that question, it seems to be coming back. And my wife is saying like, it seems like it's a similar year to 2019. I wouldn't say 20%, but we certainly are running events and they're fun. So yeah, we're doing a lot of events right now and we're trying to add on all these other things to it. Like not even upsell, but just more like adding things, trying things. We added this printed postcard to this Foot Locker event we just did. And I was just like, let's just do it. I've wanted to do it where people don't always want a bucket hat. Not everyone wants the bucket hat. So why don't we just add this postcard component where people get to see it screen printed? And so there's this real like joy of what it is.
So you were screen printing postcards?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did like a postcard. So we did like a digital design. We did a design where we had like a textured back and then like a full color front. So we pre-printed those and then we had a one color silk screen for the back that went over that textured design. And so it all worked, just as far as like with the technical side of, how it would look and how perfect it needed to be. And they loved the idea. And so, yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
So who comes up with these ideas, like the postcard idea or something new? Like, so do you have a pitch deck that you go talk to every company, and say, hey, here's our idea for this activation and for this live print, something that's different, not typical. Is that on your end? Do you do that, or they bring you those ideas? Yeah.
So, we have, we have a deck now, which we created just in the last year, which really helps me out because for years I would just meet people and they would kind of come out of the conversation, and I would come out of the conversation where I was like, man, like that person's cool. We're friends. And I think that was the memory of, of what we had, this energy, this connection. And I'm really into that kind of like just, being open to everybody and having those connections. But without that, I think, we didn't have a website. Our website was like the same for 10 years, and we didn't have this portfolio, and people in the US we met for Adidas years ago would be like, when are you going to send me this thing? So yeah, that stack portfolio was like really good for legitimizing, I think, me too. And we also did a new website. So what happens is we do tend to get asked to figure out kind of crazier things. Now, again, these might not be crazy for like the States. Like, I'm not saying we're doing crazy innovative shit, but we're getting asked to do shoes. We're getting asked to do, like hard goods, soft goods, like, I think it's kind of a combination. If we get hired by a really big agency, they seem to really know what they want. They've done a lot of homework. They have tons of people on their staff. We show up at an event, there's, 7 interns, and it's just completely insane. They tend to just really know what they want, and it's right down to the micro, which I love. So, but I also love floating up into the macro too. And that's kind of that's kind of me. I do both. So like, my father's a nuclear physicist, retired now. My mom's an very eccentric British sense of humor artist / teacher, but like very open, divergent, crazy, creative, really fun. So I have these two things that I like to sort of zoom in and zoom out on. So what happens is I tend to get asked to do something, and then I add to it. And it's not just to upsell, even though I know my numbers, and obviously it helps, because a lot of this stuff is at providing value, and it usually adds to budget. It's not really, I'm not a menacing, fiend sitting there trying to just upsell, but I'm really trying to make this the coolest thing ever, because I know that it's going to lead to more work, and it's really fun. And I'm really kind of into the event stuff, and dealing with those high volumes of people one-on-one for that tiny snapshot with every single person, for some reason, it's just kind of like my adrenaline kick. I just like it. I just like it a lot. So I don't know if that answers your question.
I think the one thing is that like, there are definitely the companies like you doing that and traveling all over the place and doing this. And then there's other places like Family Industries and all these other people that focus on live printing, and like that's their thing, and they're amazing at it, and they do all these huge things. I also feel like there's so many printers like myself where we've been live printing for like 10 years, but we've always done it the same way. Like it's more within our 50 to 100 mile radius or something. There's a corporate event or a party or like a beer fest or something where we go with our tent and our 4-color press, and we do 4 1-color designs. We just screen print shirts. That's kind of the whole thing.
Yeah,
I love doing them. They're fun, but also we keep getting asked more and more now, like, to do these other things, like you were saying. Like, I just did my first DTF one the other day, like in the city, and then it was kind of like, what else can we do? What else, like, we could do bags, or you're saying like, oh, we could decorate shoes, or I see all these people out there with different heat presses and all these things to make these things work. And it's like, how do you go from, I don't want it to be this thing where, oh, we're talking about live printing, and it has to be this thing now where if you get into live printing, you're traveling from New York to California to do these things and everything. I think it's something that, for me and our company, our normal print day-to-day stuff is national. We ship and do everything everywhere. Live printing for us has always been like the one thing we do locally. Like I said, within my 100-mile radius. I don't want to be the one who travels to California or other states to do this thing. I just want to make cooler shit in my radius. So what would you say to go from screen printing, live printing, that seems to be kind of the basics, to what could you get into to try that's new, cool things that's not the basics? You know what I mean? Like, offer a client and be like, hey, we're going to go to this corporate event. Instead of just doing 4 1-color prints, let's try X.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of crazy shit. So we did a whole soccer league once where we actually cut up, because we used to have a sewing operation in house. We actually cut up jerseys at the event and seamed them back up like Frankenstein jerseys, and then added. You
did that at the event?
At the event. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it was crazy, and you would just kind of like cut up the center of the jersey and Frankenstein it to another one, and then you'd add rhinestones or transfers or there was screen printing transfers, and you're just throwing everything at the wall. It's kind of the way that my brain works. I tend to want to just try everything and see how it works. We've done shoes for Adidas. The new stuff that's out there now with the surface adhesives and all that really opens up a whole avenue to be able to go in and do hard goods. So we just did like a workshop up north for like a school. We did water bottles where you can put, instead of vinyl, you're putting on the that stuff. I mean, my team really keeps me honest, and because I do have a real sensibility to like the actual trades that are involved in what we do. And so we do roll our eyes at some of the new shit. Like when DTF came out, we were like, fuck this thing. It's going to be so bad. And we literally were just like, I think we all did. We were like, and we still love screen printing. That's our favorite thing to do. But we got a 500 piece direct to film job, and we asked the supplier, have you done a wash test on this? Because I don't want to sell it in if this thing's going to come off. And they're like, oh, we did they said the industry thing from probably their supplier. We did a 500 watt, whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. And, but it worked. And it changed things. I mean, it changed things. And so we allowed that to happen. And we started to do that. And now with these surface things, I think that's kind of where things might be going too, with doing like hard goods and doing that live. But I will say one thing that is a really fun thing to do, and I'm sure Family Industries does it, is that you look at the hard cost per head, a lot of the time, I think, when you're quoting this. So if someone comes to you and they say they have 10,000 people at a festival, it's hard to sell them a t-shirt. But I also am going to, with great humility, say, maybe you shouldn't have a t-shirt because you're going to have the variables of sizes, and that's going to be a real pain in the ass. So why not do a poster, And those posters, like Massey Hall is a big kind of music place in Toronto that if you're ever here, you got to come say hi, but also you should go check out a show at Massey Hall. And we actually did a poster, and there was a huge lineup. It was a band that we do their merch for, Dwayne Gretzky, and they didn't have a whole lot of money to do the merch end of it, but we kind of sold them on, hey, this is going to be amazing for us to show up. I don't even know how much more we charged for doing it live, but we basically were able to set up and do a black matte kind of poster paper with a gold metallic single color print, and it just moved. Like we actually pre-printed half of them, or like an extra half, just because we didn't know what the fuck was going to go on, and we thought it was going to be a nightmare. And then it ended up going so well that we ended up doing 30% more. But you know what? That material cost is basically eliminated. And so all of a sudden now, when we get a large corporation or a small bank, like a CD release or an album release or something, I can now go at them with like, hey, we could do a poster that's literally going to be no material cost. So you're just paying us to come and show up and do this well. And I can, pay one of my guys to go if I don't really like to go to every event, obviously now that I have 3 kids. And, but now we can go in really aggressively. So I think that I'm sure that Family does this too. They're way ahead of us, I think, in size, but I know them quite well. And, I think that probably per unit is a good way to start when you're starting to figure this out. But also, when the small amount of stuff I got off of just like listening to you talk, I don't know. I feel like you're a screen printer, right? Like you run. Yeah. So, I mean, Devin is one of my main dudes, and Keegan is our lead. So he's my main operator. He runs our auto. And then Keegan is our lead designer, and he ran autos for 10 years or whatever. Right. So these are my 2 dudes. I get it. Like they're not sitting like, they're actually trained technicians. They know the machine. They can sit on that machine and save the day for me. I'm actually not, a screen printer by trade. Sure, I can do it live. I can help in certain elements. I'm always there to get my hands dirty. I'm always there to work. I'm always there to help and load and be there till 6 a.m. on stuff I need to be. But those guys are my technicians. Those guys are the guys. So it could be too that you're just like, fuck this. I don't know if I want to be sitting around figuring out how to print on a flower, which we figured out when the UV DTF. We were doing that shit. And we were doing all sorts of artsy shit, which is kind of, I like that shit. I like that stuff. I like screwing around with all that fun stuff. But
I think the scariest part for me with all that stuff is branching out from what we're doing now is, like you said, you're cutting jerseys in half and sewing them back together. It's like, what do you do if you have a line of 300 people waiting to get a jersey? You're fucking,
you're not doing
taking you 15 minutes to do a jersey.
Yeah, you're not doing 300. And that wait time is crazy. And so one of the first things I ask people, and I think it's a good way too, if I'm trying to close the deal or something too, is there's a strong consideration for the experience. So we were doing tote bags once at TIFF at Toronto International Film Festival, and they had ordered 300 totes to be done over 5 days. We did 300 totes by halfway through the first night, and the entire city block was completely packed. So I go up to our client and I'm like, dude, this is horrible, right? This is crazy. He goes, no, man, this is awesome. And I'm like, what are you talking about? All these people are going to be waiting for 2.5 hours to get a shitty tote bag. And he's like, whatever. So we ended up with that client charging them in that moment, to get 2,000 tote bags for the week, and people waited. And that was cool for that particular event, that particular agency and client. Whereas Nordstrom, when they came to do store openings in Toronto, they were mad at us that things were taking 40 seconds when we were screen printing a one color that literally there was no lineup. So by that night, we ended up printing 75% of the shirts, and it was literally 10 seconds. So one of the first things I talk about with that client is, how long do you want people to wait? And I also tell people embroidery, that's a big fucking buzzkill. It's like watching a shitty song. It's watching the 6-minute song on the record. It's never interesting. If you ever see any of our Instagram embroidery posts, or I'm sure most people do this too, you're putting that, I had to put it up to 20x the last one that I did on a story, because it was kill me. This is shit. And so people come to you because they think monogramming's cool, but you have to say, all right, maybe, but do people really want to watch that?
I think I would rather do patches at this point. And Andy had kind of talked to me about that yesterday. It's now you just get a bunch of different patches, and you have a denim vest or a hat or something, and they come in and they're like, I want one here.
Yeah.
Press it. Cool. Here's your fucking
What that story is. So we have Dylan and I are going to be at this SNS event in LA, and they asked us to come up with an idea for one item or something, that at our, booth or something that Shirt Show could pass out. And a couple of days ago, my son and his girlfriend were over, and in Missouri, we have a ton of lakes, and they were at the lake for the holiday. And it's a thing here to have trucker hats that, if you're boating and everything, everybody wears their trucker hats from wherever they're from or whatever. But here there was this pop-up trucker hat shop, I guess, at this bar that everybody sort of got off their boat and then they walked into this bar, and my kid said there was a line of people, and just paying $70, believe it or not, for this customized hat. So there was a hat, it was a blank hat, which I love, because you said a minute earlier or a few minutes ago about how, hey, you don't have to have all these different sizes, right? So it's no nightmare. It's just, hey, it's a hat, it's one size, that's easy. And so,
and we all know a hat costs what, $6
or less. Yeah. And so what you could do is just choose patches. And so, there was all kinds of patches. You mix match them however you want, and then they press them on the hat right there for you. And It was a different kind of experience, because I'm so used to sort of like what Dylan was talking about earlier, is that when I think live printing, I just think, hey, the easiest thing to do is to have a one color print and have, a 4-head or a 6-head press and offer 4 to 6 different designs and print that. But that, is only one thing, and it's sort of maybe more boring, and how you really can't customize it like you can when you get to choose whatever patch you want from 100, to put on a hat. And so I think that ideas like that are what's really interesting. And that's why we were excited to talk to you, because, you have this, Like if anyone wants to, they should go to Peace and Cotton Instagram. Not if they want to, they should. You need to go to that Instagram and check out what they do, because like he was saying, there's a lot of crazy stuff that you do that are great ideas that you would want to, like, it would draw your attention when you go to an event. And when you go to an event, you just like, hey, what's going on there? I want to go check it out, instead of just your basic standard t-shirt printing. Not to like shit on that, because it's still pretty cool. It's just, you see that so often. What's different, you know?
Well, yeah. And, before Instagram came along, I think I was just the crazy person in my family and my friends and in the industry. And then when then Instagram came along, it gave you a place to kind of put all that insanity and put it into one thing. And so I really enjoy that a lot, that you can do that. And I'll tell you, actually, one of the things that we did that kind of set these this mini trend the last month, in response to what you just said, is we got asked to do something for Foot Locker, and it was the creative didn't come, and it didn't come, and then it was like 5 days before the event, and we were booked in, and we can do things like you guys can very quickly, but it's kind of like, what's going on? Like, we got to figure this out. So in the end, I kind of came up with this thing where I found these kits of all these different types of patches that you could basically get really quickly. And I bought 1,000, and I didn't know if they were going to be horrible or amazing, but I bought enough that I could just get rid of the ones that were crappy. And I basically told the client, listen, instead of you trying to come up with these 4 ideas, I'm going to bring 1,000 ideas. Now, sorry, 1,000 pieces with probably, 600 variables or 400 variables. There was a lot. Now, that created a whole experience at Foot Locker where all of a sudden, in the lineup of people where you had 30 people waiting, because they had 2 countertops that were like 6 feet long each, you had 20 people engaged, waiting and picking their gem of what they wanted to do. And we got hired to do a Pride Adidas event based off of that post. And now we're doing another Adidas event next week, I think, based on the merit of that event. And because they know that I can be very open, but I'm very disciplined. And so it was just kind of like, we just like let it open. And that was kind of by accident. But I find that the more you just communicate, then everyone's cool. Everyone's cool with it. If you just say sorry in advance, and maybe we should do this, and maybe we shouldn't be waiting for that creative, and let's take the stress off of you. And all of a sudden these like flowers come up and then happen. And so anyway, I just found that that's cool, but these little mini trends start and they finish. And so you kind of also see why that might've been a bad idea in like 6 months. Cause maybe some of those patches, I was a little bit worried because they're not ones that we made. So we don't know for sure the adhesive was great. But you monitor it and you say, well, you ask your guys like, hey, how many of these got messed up? Oh, 2. Okay, well, that's good. So now you tell people too in advance, like, hey, why don't you tack that on with your sewing machine again when you get home? Or, you just add a little bit more care. And it's just a very open, transparent conversation, which is kind of just the way I run the company. Yeah.
That's something I've always kind of been fearful too with trying other things. It's like, all right, well, again, if I'm trying to stick within my 100-mile bubble or whatever, it's like, do I want to go do an event with something where it's cool there at the event, everyone's happy, we printed this, did this, and then they take it home, wash it, and like everything comes off. It's like all these people that are out there live printing all the time with a flash, and it's like, that's terrifying to me, because it's like, cool, they bought that shirt and they go home and wash it, and half the print falls off because you didn't flash it long enough, or your flash wasn't working, or it was windy or whatever. And then they're like, well, fuck this place. And then your word just spreads faster that whatever product they bought from you was garbage. So that's always been a concern.
I think it's certainly a valid concern. There are times where when you're running 1,000 things in 3 days at a live event, because sometimes we're doing that, and that's crazy. You're just running heat presses nonstop and just hoping everything works out. There's definitely moments where we're just like, we were clear, right? Like we were clear with the client that this is not perfect. This is not like, we just had a guy, we just did one of our biggest events at Cabana Pool Bar. It's this huge club in Toronto. This pool bar, it's like, so there's 2,000 people. It was for one company's staff party. And we did 1,800 tote bags live in one day. Sorry, we got hired to do 1,800. I think we did like 1,400. The one guy I hired, he started that day, Carter, and he killed it. He had never run a heat press before, but he had run events in like the gaming industry, and he killed it. And I was like, dude. And after I think I don't know if I bought him a beer after, but I said, listen, you were amazing. I'm going to bring you back for events, but he was going to get into production. And I said, whatever you learned from me in the last 8 hours, it's done. It's unlearned, because he's going to go into the factory on Monday and learn how to DTG. He's going to learn how to do the direct to film stuff for retail. He's going to learn how to that. It's completely different. Like
I don't want you to go from turn and burn to like doing that same process at my shop. Like I want you to
don't do it.
Focus on quality.
That's right. That's why we don't hire the direct to film guys that do the fulfillment, because quite frankly, it's like, it's my name. It's our name, you know? Mm-hmm. And even though that's a one heat press and it seems pretty easy, I'd rather just do it and people get paid more. And then I don't know, I have friends.
But that's the other nice side of you doing these corporate events is you're usually like white labeled, like you are Adidas or you are whatever at this event, right? Like you don't have like your branding out everywhere. You are there for them.
Well, that's what's kind of crazy about what's going on right now is that I spent my whole life basically being kind of anti-brand. I'm not really into that whole branding thing. I never really wanted to be kind of this brand. You know, that's not my thing. And then we ended up actually going through this kind of crazy thing. So where out of COVID, we actually we got audited and it went very badly. And it was like, and we basically found out that our accounting team that we paid a lot of money monthly for was basically doing everything offshore and subbing it out and like using AI bots. And that the whole basically Canadian government was not updating the portals that told you what to pay. And so this accountant that was doing everything on AI hadn't paid taxes. And we basically found this crazy thing out. And so what happened was I ended up letting go of all my operations team and my accountants and taking over the whole company about 1.5 years ago. And I doubled down on creative. And the creative team came to me and they basically said, we need to push the Panda brand. If you want to become, you know, a bigger company, we want to get out, we want to get bigger. We want to pay the government back. We want to pay people back. We're a good company. We just got into this thing and we got to go for some growth. So we ended up doing a brand extension. Everyone kind of told me to do this thing. And all of a sudden now we're able to go in, we're company's up quite a bit this year. Government's happy. Everybody, new accountants. That's good.
Government's getting paid.
But yeah, they're good. But to be honest with you, like people like the Panda, which is crazy because it wasn't really what I wanted to do. But because I spent so many years just being a dude, it kind of just, my designers kind of really just went with it more and pushed me into that. And it seems like the more we do it and they kind of like it. So now all of a sudden the Foot Locker, who's hiring a influencer that has 800 followers to do like a cool thing. And usually they just hire us to like put patches on or screen print or supply the tote bags. Or now they're like, oh, well, Peace and Cotton has, you know, tens of thousands of followers. Why are we not promoting them and using their follower? So now all of a sudden we're doing more as a brand, which by the way, like it's not really what I'm trying to push, but it is kind of just happening organically.
But Foot Locker is saying, you know, hey, this is happening by Peace and Cotton, not
they
like,
are
hey,
now
we're just doing this thing, yeah, which
is new, by the way. So now, like one of the new posts that I posted up on Instagram is like customization station. There's like a banner that says Peace and Cotton. We have these like tabletop things that people can link to our Instagram, but it's not what I wanted to push. I felt guilty. Like I just didn't want to audacious and silly doing that for the first 10 years, or 15 years, whatever it is. It's 15 years this year. And so, but now I don't know, it just seems like it's different. And I think like, you know, one of my main creative dudes, this guy Spence, who we talk every day, and he's just like, it's different now. And me and him sort of chatted out and we've kind of like, it's kind of going into this new direction. And I don't know what that is, but it's a place of honesty and integrity, but it's still like kind of weird for me.
Jeremy,
that's good.
I think I feel you on this anti-brand thing. Please make sure that I'm clear on this. So you're saying like, because I'm the same way. So anti-brand, I don't like wearing anything that says like a polo or any national brand. I don't want to wear that on my shirt. Is that what you're talking about? Like Abercrombie or whatever, Hollister, all that shit. Like you would,
And
you don't,
and just even the infinite amounts of private labels that we've created for people. Like, it's very much like the music industry when I was, going into the studio and doing printing up 1,000 CDs. In a way, we kind of came up with this term of it's a vanity project, and that was sort of, that came out 10 years ago or something, or 15 years ago, where we weren't being critical. It was just that it was more about why you're doing it, what you're really trying to prove, and kind of get into the heads of the people that come and see us. Now, they really like me for that, because it saves the money too. Because some people come in here and they've saved up all like 20 grand or 5 grand or 50 grand, and they want to drop all their money. Well, I'm going to be the first now that we've been around a bit. Maybe 10 years ago it was a bit different. Maybe I was trying to get every buck, but like now it's like, why are you spending that money? Why are you doing that? So when I say anti-brand, it's everyone, like, look at the world that we live in. Everyone has an Instagram now. Everyone wants their own brand. Everyone thinks that they're super important. And so that's, to me, like really strange. Like, it's really weird. And even though we have a presence, even though we do this thing, it's just kind of still strange. And so I'm sort of anti brand in that sort of sense of just like stamping something and saying that you have this great idea and it's in the form of a logo. And I want to some of the times when we do education, because we do some education stuff, curriculum in schools, I'll talk about the Nike kind of brand and how it really wasn't that they just created a swoosh and then made 20 t-shirts and sold them. It was that there was a substance behind this of thought and marketing and product development and need. And so it's more than just designing a cool brand. I don't know if that's what you guys see a lot out there, but in Toronto anyway, for 15 to 20 years, everyone just thinks they can design a cool logo and start a brand and start selling stuff. And then all of a sudden they're cool and they're big and they're great and everyone knows who they are. And that's kind of just a weird thing sometimes.
Well, to wrap up the live print thing, what I'm gathering from you is just try things. Like, get out of your comfort zone a little bit, be creative, and just try shit. Right?
Maybe. Yeah, if you're looking to do that. But I mean, I feel like what you guys have is like years of this sort of integrity piece kind of behind you. And like, I could see why you're not like trying to get that crazy gig in California where you're doing this crazy thing and pulling all this out of, your butt. Like when I go to my wife and say, we're going to go to California to do 5,000 of this on the field, and we're going to bring all the kids and we're going to stay up the coast where there's nobody for 3 of the days. She's like, well, fuck, please, let's do it. So
that's exactly what I mean though, in that is that it's fun. Like, I do these because I like doing them. It's fun. So you're taking that event as an opportunity for you to go with your family and have work, but also play as well.
It's really fun. Yeah. But I don't, when you sign up for, like pain, I still sign up for pain a little bit. So I don't wish that upon everybody, but I'm a little bit of a, like, just masochist like that. I just like figuring shit out that's kind of crazy and hard. So,
yeah, I get it. Do you have, let's just stick to one. Do you have one live printing hack to share?
Oh, a hack. Well, I've shared a little bit, I think, already with timing. I think like really finding out first how long people want to wait. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's probably, I mean, how you go into production, you proceed with caution. I mean, I don't know. That's a real tough question.
Well, there's like certain things, like, again, like I'm small potatoes when it comes to that, but like going and doing it, we learned after a couple of years of like, we used to have this thing where we would just, ask the person's name and then like write it on a clipboard. And then when their shirt was done, we'd be like, oh, it's for Nate. And then you'd sit there and be like, I don't remember who the fuck Nate was. And like, where is Nate? Whatever. So then like we made these like business cards that they could write down, like, I want design 1 and this is my name and this is whatever. And then we would pass the card from that person to the printer who would put it on the shirt that goes through the dryer. So when it came out the other side, we rolled the shirt, put the card on it, put it on a table so Nate could come grab his own shirt off the table. It's just stuff like that where it's like, now we don't have to remember that person's name. We can just go bing, bang, boom. It's done, out the door. We don't have to fucking think about it. That's true. Now it's using like print grip on the screen printing palette because we don't have to worry about like bringing glue with us or if it's too tacky or nah, or whatever. It's like, it's things like that that make the live print easier. And you're on the road, you're not at the shop, you don't have your tools, you don't have this or that. Like, that's what I mean. Is there anything that you're like, oh, I have to bring this, and this makes life way easier?
Yes, sir. That flow is like what I'm obsessed with in the first hour of every event, because every event has a different flow. And yeah, what you just said, it all hits it right on the mark. That's kind of your thing that you're trying to hit right away, is what is that, measure that flow of stuff. And when we were doing that big tote bag job, we lost power at a point too. And they lost it because they were like, oh my God, because they had the biggest line. And if you looked at the aerial view, which they had photos of this event, it's massive. There's 2,000 people there at about a big deck by a pool, and there's people that are taking the entire width of that venue. And so security would come up and say, can we cut this line? And I'm like, well, you could tell the people that hired us, but it's not up to us. We're just the lowly printers, right? But what we did was we had a couple people working that day that were new, and they felt bad about the line. And so they, even though there wasn't really any, like when we feel bad, we tell our client and then we deal with that feeling, that emotion. We're not just like emotional and like, oh my God, like, but they kind of got emotional. So one of my staff actually started jumping people over the disciplined sort of first person. I would sort of deal with first point of contact. And Keegan, who's just like this stoic South African dude that runs our design, and he's screen printing and looking at me. He keeps me really together and just staring at me like, shut up and don't rush. And just, we're going to do this at our pace, which is great. Because a good barista does that too, right? It's like there's just a pace, or a good food place. Like there's a pace to it. Anyway, so our staff started feeling bad, and I think one of the staff started to jump people through to her. She's like, "Let me just start dealing with it." And all of a sudden, you could see that there's a problem. And I politely, I don't know if it was polite. I thought I was polite, but I'm pretty blunt at times. And I was just like, "No," And it's like, we're good. We're going back, and everyone kind of just stopped and went back. And so what you said, like, that stuff with pickups at the end and tags and names and all that stuff, because it's so different. It's hard to go in with, like knowing exactly how you want to deal with it. But you know what though, my staff is all, now that they've done like hundreds of events, they do want me to get more like catalog with this. And I do always say, like, one of my 3 kids is going to grow up and fire me immediately because there's just so much shit, and I love it. To me, it all makes a lot of sense, but it's like, discipline is like probably how we scale, how we get to the next point. But it's kind of fun right now. I like this stage.
Yeah. I'm very like, when I get into something like the live print, I'm like, all right, like I have 2 setups. I have the exact same of everything. I have these things that I can break down into smaller things. I have all the shirts in these totes. I have a drawer in the cabinet of the press that's like it's got like extra fuses and tools and all the things that we would need on the road, everything. And I try to make it as like systems and processes at the event as possible. Yeah, we're there having a good time, and that's the customer service part of it, of us having a good time. But like you said, it's like we're doing it at our pace. If you're in line, you're just in line, and we're trying to have a good time and have a conversation. But like, I don't want that person in front of me to be like, well, about this and what about this? And I'm like, all right, like here's the 4, pick, write it on this card. You step aside so the next person can do their thing. Like, I just want it to be go, get it done kind of thing.
I will say that we came up to New York City a couple years ago with an agency and did a big thing in Soho with Shein. And we did this big corporate thing, and people were lining up and doing this like snake. They had the stanchions up and they were doing the snake line. And there were people that they didn't know when they started to line up what the hell was going on. So by the time they got to the end of it, and it's just 3 guys with heat presses, because it wasn't even screen printing, there were people that were like, this is it.
Right.
And that was noted because you do have to sort of measure excitement and like at the end of the day. So maybe the hack is, really, is it interesting? Because screen printing is interesting. Like, I feel like the pull of that squeegee is interesting.
I 100% agree with you, because like I said, I just did that live print, a week ago with Christina, and it was like, all we had was 2 heat presses. Like we had a stack of DTF and 2 heat presses. And I asked them before we went, because they didn't want us to bring any of our own stuff other than the heat presses, the DTF and the shirts. I was like, do you have anything that's like a display, like a banner, a stand, like something? Like I need to know we're not just going to be standing at 2 fucking fold out tables with 2 heat presses and just expect this to be cool. Like, what do you have going on? Like they had a nice layout. Everything was cool, but like it definitely wasn't the same vibe for me as it was like spinning the press and printing a shirt. And my favorite thing of live printing isn't selling a shirt. It's grabbing somebody who's happy and excited and bringing them over by me and showing them how to screen print a shirt. I'm like, hey, you want to print your own? And I stand there. I'm like, don't drop the squeegee in the ink. Like, grab it here. Like, pull it here. They lift it up and they're like stoked that like you can't do that at every live event. But like I'm just saying, like when it's slower and there's people just standing there, like that's my favorite part is to show them screen printing. And you don't have that when you're just like hitting a button on a heat press and you're like,
yeah, that was honestly where I think the momentum was going with the live screen printing right before COVID. We were starting to get asked to set up DIY stuff where people would come into a trailer and they would screen print their own shirt. And it was literally like where, you know, how things kind of just go into these weird social trends for whatever reason. I feel like that was where it was going. And then when it ended, it could be where it goes again, by the way, in my opinion, you might be dead on in that. And because you know, a lot of times it's like, you know, I don't know, I'm not being over dramatic, but Rick Rubin says it's like, it's in the air, right? The ideas are in the air. And where it intuitively goes, I think, is instead of watching someone doing it, it's doing yourself. And someone pulling a squeegee. I think we've done it with workshops with, you know, high schools and stuff and kids coming to the shop and getting them to do it. And there's something really amazing about that. And they're going to really remember that. And we do actually pull in kids. Like there's always that teenager there that's sitting there like hating school. And he's like, fuck, what is that? And then I just love those kids. Like, that's why me and my stepson are so tight. Like, you know, it's just like, you know, he's like me, man. Like in school, we were just, it wasn't, you know, we weren't really into it. And you guys, I know I heard you guys talk about too, but you know, that screen printing is like, it's something. And like literally sticking an iron on a t-shirt, it's not really going to get the ambition, you know, meter rolling for a teenager, I think. But that screen print thing is like, there's a process, you know, and it's interesting. So
I went to, we were in Minneapolis 10 years ago, and I got stuck going to Mall of America. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's supposedly the biggest mall in America. I think it's probably, maybe it's gone by now. I don't know, but it has an amusement park like inside of it with roller coaster, all that kind of stuff. So we get there and there was like, I was only excited to go to like on some rides. Otherwise I didn't care. And we had our little kid with us. He was, I don't know if he was probably like 5 or 6 at the time. So we see this ride, and it was the like the log flume where, you know, it's like you get in a log and it goes up and then you go straight down into some water, right? You know what I'm talking about? You've had that ride. Yeah. I'm sure you have that ride at a lot of places. Well, we see this line and we're like, oh, that line's like doable. You know, there's maybe a couple hundred people. So we get in line and it goes into like this mountain where you can't see, this like fake mountain. So once we get inside the mountain, it only took like maybe 5 or not even 10 minutes to get inside the mountain. But once it got inside the mountain, it like zigzagged like this of a line that was like 45 minutes or an hour. We were stuck like in there, and he had to go on this ride or whatever. So lines are awful. But what I really liked about what you said earlier is that at one of the events that you had, there was this line, but you had to do something like get all these patches together, and you would spend maybe 10 minutes or 15 or whatever it was, like creating the thing that you were going to do. And you were busy. You were like doing the thing. You weren't really paying attention to the fact that, you know, I'm bored. We're standing in line. I want to do something else. This sucks. You were doing something, and it was fun, and you were engaged. Right. And then you got to do the thing. And so I think that maybe that's the component that some of this is missing. If there's ever like this really long line, is that how are you engaged?
That's what Disney does. You go in line for like Pirates or whatever, and then it's like once you get in the building, it's like, okay, there's like gems that light up if you touch them, and then there's like this other thing, like a water fountain thing. You run your hands through it, it makes noise, and it's like, and as you're in line, every curve there's like another thing to draw your attention instead of just like, fuck, I'm in like a cubicle of just waiting in line. Right. So maybe that's the thing is like once you get to a certain point in line, there's someone making balloon animals, and you go to another point, there's someone doing trivia questions or something, and it's like
that's a good idea.
So it makes waiting in line.
I like that idea.
Not boring. and they don't have to buy anything. Like someone could literally be like, all right, fucking movie trivia. And there's like 30 people in front of you in that section in a line. And you're like, what's the blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, oh, all right, cool. And then they're like stoked to keep going through line.
Yeah, like
because that line is the experience. Yeah, that's
Right,
like
exactly.
part of it. And so to focus in on, you know, how you consider the people in that line. I like that a lot. I might start working that creative into the line.
Do it.
I like it a
fucking
lot.
hope you do.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay, so we have over-unders. So I have 3 things today. Just let me know if you think they are overrated, underrated, or properly rated. The first one we have today is birthdays.
I was born on the coldest, darkest, shortest day of the year, December 21st. I met my wife and she insisted that our kids were born in the summer months. She didn't say it was directly because of me, but we have 3 kids that are all within a month. And it does make that May extremely expensive. But I feel like that birthday thing, especially when when you have kids and you're trying to figure that out, I would never have thought of that. But I don't know. I feel like birthdays are pretty cool. And I would say with the third one, which is what? All right. Not overrated.
Properly rated.
Properly rated.
I think they are overrated when it's my birthday, but I think it's properly rated if it's someone I love's birthday and I get to like go get them something awesome and I'm stoked to give it to them. I'm also notoriously known for like, say I buy something 3 weeks beforehand, I will almost 100% give it to them within that week because I can't wait 3 weeks to give it to them. So I'm an early gift giver for sure.
Yeah.
I think that just listening to your both of your comments and answers, I would say that my answer would be that birthdays are underrated when you're young, you love them. And then as you get to middle age or whatever, maybe they're properly. And then once you get a little older, it's overrated. I don't care. I mean, I'm talking about like yours, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it changes over the course of your life or something, but yeah. So number 2, I have, this is a good one. Quesadillas.
So random.
I think they're overrated, but I think it's overrated. But I think it's weird when you said that. I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, but what it made me think about was how there's all these ways of presenting tortilla, cheese, sour cream, lettuce, tomato, meat. And there's certain things I just can't stand. Like, I don't really like burritos. Like, I kind of feel like there's too much shit in the burrito. I don't like poutine, which is a big Canadian thing. There's just too much stuff.
Whoa, hang it up.
But it's because I'm going to gain 50 pounds in a day. Like, I have a very slow metabolism. And so anyway, I feel as though it just made me think about all the ways that we present this type of food and how I'm like, I don't like burritos, but I kind of like quesadillas, I guess. Like, if like my kids order them, but like I really like tacos. And so, but I still am going to say overrated, but.
All right. I don't give a shit about quesadillas anymore. I'm talking about poutine. Last time I went to Canada, I was in Toronto for the Jones Gustafson fight. This was quite a while ago now. And the entire couple days I was there, I ate nothing but poutine. Everywhere we went, I got poutine and it was all different kinds. Like, it was all different ways it was made, whatever. I felt like the biggest piece of shit by the time I left there because I ate nothing but fucking cheese, gravy, and fries for a while. And then the funny thing was, as soon as we fucking left Canada and got on the US border, we stopped for lunch or whatever. And I don't know why, like, we couldn't find much of anything to stop at. So we ended up stopping at like Dairy Queen. And when we went in there, I ordered poutine. I was like,
at Dairy Queen?
At Dairy Queen.
That doesn't sound good. That's a mistake.
But I'm just saying, it was like, I had to at that point. Like, the funny thing is, we were in US now, but it was close enough to Canada where they had it on the menu. So I was like, fine, fuck it. And like, I saw it and I looked at everybody and they're like, you have to order it. So I got poutine in the US at Dairy Queen.
Sweet.
But quesadillas, depends on where they're made. I hate when you go
Yeah.
somewhere and you're like, oh, quesadilla on the menu. I could go for that now. And it comes out and it's bland. It's just chicken and cheese. Like there's
right.
nothing in it. There's no like grilled anything. There's no whatever. It's just bland as hell.
I'm okay with chick. So I think that's one of the great things about a quesadilla is that if you go to a restaurant and you're along with friends or whatever, and you're just there, and so you have to find something on the menu and you're not sure, you just order the quesadilla because it's really hard to screw it up. You're like, it's cheese and a tortilla, you know, and that's what it is. And so when in doubt, just get yourself a quesadilla. You'll be happy. I think. And so I say they're
What does that
underrated.
make it? Underrated. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
For you.
Like,
So the last thing, and I know we've talked about this a lot today, but I think it's an obvious one. So it's live printing. What do you think?
well, I love that I have a factory, and I'm proud of that. I gotta say, I hate being called an entrepreneur. It's like the worst thing you can call someone who's had a business for 15 plus years. And I did call myself a manufacturing company pretty early because we started to do hard goods too. And we do have a sourcing arm, and we had sewers, and I wasn't just set up to be just a screen printer. And all that. I feel as though it would be easy, or the first intuitive response is that it could be a little bit overrated, but like, I think that's the knee jerk. But I think like what I love about it is the people. I really love the energy.
Yeah, for
no
sure.
matter how sort of douchey the corporate side of that event is, or if it's a CD release CD release party, a release party or a music thing or something, or small, or, you know, there's just like that engagement opportunity with individuals. And for the most part, in my experience anyway, when you just get that small snapshot of that spirit of that person, it's pretty good. You don't have to deal with them for a whole lot of time, but I love it. And so I would say that it's either just right or underrated. I think it's really good. I'm really into it. And actually was surprised, by the way, sorry, I'm taking all this time, but you guys sort of said, it's funny because you guys sort of said live printing. I don't think I told you that like live printing was our sort of thing. I think you guys were just like, let's talk about live printing. Which is kind of interesting to me and kind of cool. So I don't know why I brought that up, but I just thought that was cool because I think because we do so much shit, I'm always like, kind of just like, oh, like what do people think we do and all that. So I
to answer that question though, real quick, is we are in a direction with the show now of, we've been doing this for what, fucking 4 years now, Andy? And we talk to screen print shops after screen print shops, and it's like, oh yeah, we're in a band, we started a print shop, and we did this. Now it's like, we're looking at our industry of like, what is something that this person brings to the game that's not everyone does the same shit. So again, Andy was like, hey, we're looking at your Instagram, and like, you do a lot of like weird, cool shit. And it's like, fuck yeah, let's talk about the weird, cool shit that is involved with the live experience thing. But to go to the overrated, underrated thing, I 100% agree with you that it's the people. Like, we could do some event in the city that's like supposed to be this really cool, awesome thing. And honestly, sometimes they're just really boring. It's like the people are like, give me my shirt. They don't give a fuck. They do whatever and they go do their thing. Sometimes we do like a swim championship for New York, and it's this like big swim meet, and you're like in a fucking pool. It's hot and it's gross, whatever. But like, the kids that come up to you are like stoked, and they're like excited to see you do it. You show them, and like, you just have a funny, good time. Like, that's more fun to me than doing like this like activation where you're just kind of like a cog in the machine and no one gives a shit, and they're like, give me my stuff. Like, it's 100% like the people. Or you do these events where you're selling something and like no one comes to your booth. It's just me and 3 of my buddies like fucking around all day and eating barbecue, or like telling dirty jokes and people watching. Like, it's the best.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's really necessarily a bad day in live screen printing or live printing or live whatever you're doing. It's just what you make it. So I'm going to say it's underrated.
Sweet.
Yeah. Same answer for me. I don't do it enough. We just didn't have the team. We had some momentum going before COVID, but we didn't have the team to go. And for us, we are barely capable and staffed with the team just to keep up with our production here at the shop. And so now all of a sudden I have to take 4 or 5 people or whatever it is, go set up in somewhere else. And so we just never really had the team. But I think it's underrated because it's just for all the reasons like you guys just said, especially locally, it's a great way to collab and market your company. And I know you were anti-brand and all that kind of stuff, but I love the idea. I love the idea of
now that you're known for it and they're saying your name. That's what I said. That was one of the reasons why we originally started doing it like forever ago, was every event that we had done, we got at least 10 new clients from. Like, because there's always people in line that are like, oh, I own this big construction company, or I whatever. Do you have a card? So and so. So by the time we left the event, I'd always have a stack of other people's cards or contact info on my phone or whatever, and I would hit them up on Monday, and like we had new clients. So it was it's totally worth doing, even if you don't make that much money, to just get 10 new customers out of it.
Totally.
So,
and by the way, I'm not anti-brand anymore.
he's the opposite. He's like, fuck yeah, branding, know us.
Yeah.
This is who we are.
Yeah. So,
well, thanks, dude, for coming on. We really appreciate it. You were awesome. I do want to talk more like after the show, just kind of pick your brain and talk about some stuff. But I really appreciate you doing this with us. This was fun.
Yeah, Jeremy,
thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, but thank you so much, guys. Really, really appreciate it.
Have a good day, man.
You too.
See you later.